Come on. Anytime now. There we go. Come on. There we go. Nope. Worn out, sloppy keys that kind of make you jiggle the lock to make them work. So here we have a basic padlock, a key that sits in your pocket, that gets worn out pretty good, and it no longer works. If you jiggle, 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 pull it in and out just a little bit, maybe you can get it to work. Tip the tip up into the lock cylinder. Sometimes you can get it to work. So how do we fix this old key? If this is our only one, it's actually easier than you think. So this is not a tutorial on how locks work, but it's just a basic explanation because you need to know what you're doing to be able to fix it. And so as you insert a key, you see these little, it's not the actual peaks, it's actually these little gullies. So this little flat here, down in here, down in here, down in here, that's what actually pushes up the tumbler. So the cylinder in the middle can actually move. You see how those little brass pin tumblers jump up and down as I push in the key? Then they line up. And then if you look at those circles right in the center of the screen, right there, those are the tumblers that are sized different lengths to match the key pinning. And so you can see them kind of moving as I pull the key in and out. And so what happens is as you use the key, let's take this key for example, the front has worn away and now that is lower than it needs to be, so it doesn't push that tumbler up enough. And so if you push it in and you kind of push the key up at an angle a little bit, sometimes you can get it to work and jiggle it, move it in and out. Sometimes, because it rides down in these grooves, sometimes if you pull the key out just a little bit, it kind of runs up this ramp just a little bit and it'll let you open it. So we just need to build up that surface in these little gullies that are worn out to be able to have a key that functions, and then you can actually take this down to just a key machine or something else, put it in and get a good copy, or you can pay $200 and have a locksmith actually just cut you a brand new one from scratch with a special tool. Now if you really want to, before you start, you can actually just make a diagram of your key with a really sharp pencil. We're just gonna, just to see where we started and where we end up. So the tools you need for this are actually pretty dang basic. First, you need a soldering iron. It can be a little pencil style, could be this gun style, doesn't really matter. We need some solder. Electrical, plumbing, doesn't really matter. This is electrical, plumbing works just fine. But then we also need paste flux. So this is actually like an acid flux for soldering copper pipe, stuff like this. Probably the cheapest and the most common paste flux out there, because this will help bond the solder, or if you live in the UK, solder to the brass key. So pretty basic. We're going to use solder just to build up the tip, kind of file it down a little bit, raise it up. I degreased it, kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and then I took a really fine file, not really removing any material, just making sure there's no like grease or hand grime on there, and just kind of lightly roughing up the surface. I'm not removing anything. It's just giving me a surface for the solder to actually bond. A little bit on the sides. This is just a really fine file. We're going to take some paste flux and we're just going to smear that on. Now we'll just heat up the soldering iron, tin it. Tin it means that we're just letting the solder kind of stick to it in a really thin layer, and then we can build it up, and then we will file it down because it's going to be a glob. It's not going to be beautiful. And then we're going to use the file, solder files effortlessly, and go from there. So hopefully you guys can see I'm not getting in the way. Gonna put some heat in the key. If the solder doesn't just automatically kind of stick to the brass, then you have dirty surface. You need to file it, roughen up just a little bit. You can see it's already kind of sticking. Now I can go back. I'm just kind of building up a glob. This will file away in literally a second. There we go. And it doesn't even get that hot. So we can cool it off. Now I can actually file. I got a little protruding on this side, so I can sit there and file this back on this side. I can use my paper template, kind of line it up, see what I need to file, to get it just a little bit more than normal. Again, these gullies, and they're all evenly spaced. So this gully is one, here should be one, and here one. And I can actually even, if I want to, I can measure them out on my paper, find out where every single one needs to be, and kind of go from there. But we'll go a little bit big, and then try it in the lock. A little bit big again, try it in the lock. You want to make sure that this is bonded on there good, that you didn't just glob a chunk of stuff that's going to fall off in your lock. Okay, make sure that you don't create a hook. If you create a flat wall, that tumbler will get hooked on it, and you can make yourself a permanent trap by inserting this into the lock. So everything needs to be tapered in and out. That's kind of what I ended up with. Let's see. It's a little bit stiff. Okay, I got a little bit too much solder on this side. I don't want to take off any of the original brass, so I'm just being careful. And you will a little bit, but there we go. Let's see some of the original brass flowing through. Still a little tight. I might have a bitting. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, the lock's not even locked. So the lock is locked. Did we get it the first try? No. We play around with it just a little bit. Bring it down. I know I have it just a little bit tall. Bring that down a little bit, and we'll go from there. Oh, there we go. The lock is sticking. There we go. Works effortlessly now. Where it wouldn't even work in this lock. It worked in some of my other locks with the same key. Oh yeah, it's a little stiff. Might take a little bit of the flashing off the side. But now, I actually have a key that works. So I did go down to the little like kiosk machines that are in Lowe's and Home Depot and Walmart and everything. And I got a copy of my repaired key. And this is what we ended up with. And it does work just like it's supposed to. So the machine balked a little bit and gave me a little weird step here, because this key is actually just a little bit shorter than the original. But, I mean, it made a copy good enough to actually work. So, there you go. So then you just come over to your 500 blanks and you pick out the right one, which is probably this master lock style right here. And you just go cut yourself out a new key on the key machine. Anybody need one of the old school huge GM keys? Or a key for their Datsun? Hey, check this out. I hid a present in there for you. People sent you stuff. Look at this. Ready to see what people sent you? There's more than this, but check that out. Can I have one? Look at that. Look how exciting that is. Oh yeah. Should we go play with it? People are awesome, huh? They sent you balls? Frisbees? What a lucky dog. Let's go play. Come on.